I made 2 videos on my channel about the MIM course at EDHEC and how it absolutely changed my life. And this one is responding to the questions you guys have been asking me in those videos. From this video, you can take away all the paperwork involved with the move in France, the salary you can expect getting out of school, and a couple of questions that don't fall into those 2 categories. If there's one thing that you will learn sooner or later, the system forces you to learn this, is organizing your own paperwork. I mean, doing it at home with your family is one thing. Coming to another country as a foreigner and taking care of your own identity documents happens for the first time when you step out of your comfort zone to this extent, and you have to do it sooner or later. So I'd suggest you do it sooner rather than later. For starters, this is a list published by Campus France. With these documents, you can move to France. I numbered these documents in my phone and I labeled them in a document organizer. I'm a geek that way. This gives me a lot of peace of mind. And when I need a certain document, I don't have to look for it. It's in this one folder. Everything is right here. And you may feel that this is overkill for like 4 documents. But that's just before you move here. When you move over here, the number of documents that you have to keep a track of, they will keep growing. Firstly, in the school year itself, you have to see the doctor, you have to get your sécurité sociale, but before they give it to you, you have to get your attestation au droit. You need to get the certificat scolarité from your school and keep it accessible. You have to get your bank contract, you have to get the mutuelle, and all of this stuff. The school will guide you through it, they'll make you a list and everything, but the preparation of getting it into a neat organizer is an excellent place to start. When you get a job, there's more. I have 2 versions of document translations depending on which judicial body needs it. They are not both the same. I submitted the first one to the other guy, like, dude, this is from the French government. No. It's not assermenté. It might have worked for your URSSAF, but it doesn't work for your Sécurité Sociale. Something that I didn't do, but you guys totally should if you are intending to stay in France for the long term, is to declare your taxes in the first year itself. The first year you don't make any money, so you have 0 taxes. But when you declare it, it makes your paperwork in the long run easier. If you want to stay back in France, then you have to pay taxes for 5 years in order to apply to stay in France. And for this, the first 3 years, they knock it out if you did a grande ecole. And you're doing a grande ecole if you do the MIM program. For the next 2 years, you will have your tax declaration. But why start at a point when you have a job and you're really busy during the day and you need to take a holiday to go to the service public and get your numéro fiscal? Why do you want to do all that when you can do it being a student? When you're a student, a couple of your days, the afternoons are free. So you can do it then. It's one less thing to worry about when you get to your job. The moment you arrive in France, one of the first things you'll need to do is go to see the doctor. The school will tell you about that. You need to apply for your CAF. CAF, for those of you who don't know, is money that the government gives you for being a student, and it covers roughly a third of your rent. I saved this money up for the first year and I used it to pay partially for my first MacBook Pro. My parents put the remaining of the money. I'm glad I have a job now. It's free money. And when you get a job, you're going to be paying into this CAF thing because it's a social setup where you help people who are in need. Now that you're a student and you are in need and you don't have an income, why don't you ask for it? If you're under 26, your public transport is roughly half. That move to 26 to 27 is a violent change. When you get over here, you can look it up online and get the monthly subscription and use that for metro, tramway, bus. I mean, you didn't move to France to stay indoors and watch Netflix. So get the thing and go out and travel your own city. I didn't want to spend money to go to Amsterdam and to Brussels and Ghent and Oslo like other people were. I was saving that cash, but paying this money and traveling around the city, this I wanted to do. I needed to up my French, and for that you need the Metro card. No restaurant discounts that I know of. A good lot of this information I wrote back when I was a student in this handbook I created that I never published. If you want to support my work, then one of the ways that you can do it is by purchasing this handbook. Now it's time to talk about the money. Getting a job is not all that easy, but a minimum that you can expect is 37,000 euros a year. That's before taxes, so count for like a third of it to go into taxes and social security. The reason I say 37k is because you need that income for your passeport talent anyway. You can negotiate this with your employer. That's what I did too, saying that this is the minimum, I won't go below this, because once I have this, I have a 4-year work permit, and that means I don't have to worry about it and you don't have to worry about it. Many people working in the HR are just unaware about this, but you can take care of your own work permit. They usually think that they have to sponsor it and there is a variable, but you can guarantee them that you will get a work permit. At least for the 1-year work permit, you'll surely get it. So if you get into a school like EDHEC, they will help you. So in the negotiations, make sure to point out to them that I will take care of it. Just let me do it. but I need this minimum number. That's what I did after I finished my school here in France as well. I got an offer from EDHEC, but it was an internship for 6 months and it was below 37k. So I tried to negotiate, they wouldn't budge, turned it down. And there was another opportunity with LTI. LTI was giving me way lesser than what EDHEC was planning to give me, so definitely below 37k, and it was also an internship. They shared with me which client it is that they want me to work for. There was a follow-up interview and yet another follow-up technical interview, and I really prepared for this interview, like really well, and they were almost convinced that I can do the job. Once that happened and I knew that they're going to hire someone anyway, and my languages was one of the biggest assets over here, I negotiated that 37 is the minimum below which I won't join, and it has to be a full-term contract. Given that they wanted to build a better relationship with this client, once they were convinced that I can do this for them, they caved in. The salary that they gave me was way above 37k, which was helpful to pay back my debt, and it was a full-term contract. That's a prerequisite for the passeport talent. So for 4 years, I was not bothered with paperwork. When I went to EDHEC with this offer, with this new, improved, nice offer, they said for this industry and for this employer, you should take it. And given that I wanted to compete in the IT/technology area, this was the best bet. The first job is going to be a little difficult. For 2 years, they didn't give me a raise, and my job now is way better than the previous job. So like I was saying in the other video, think about your end game and then choose a school that can take you to that end game. Which industry do you want to work in? Is it more in the startup phase or more in the bigger size company, corporate kind of phase? And within the company itself, if you were allowed to pick, would you pick marketing? Would you pick IT, so technology, or would you pick consulting? Make these choices first. If you don't know what these fields are, do some research about which field is the best fit for your personality. If you do this homework, life is going to be so much easier after you get here. Otherwise, you'll just hit imposter syndrome every day, not knowing why you're even here. It's a beautiful country, but you feel bad. So the Q&A questions that were left out was, do you by any chance help people in learning French professionally? No man, I don't, I'm sorry. But I've made a good amount of videos about how I learned French. Feel free to watch them and leave a comment about something specific that you're struggling with. I'll consider making a video about them. I wanted to know about whether it's necessary to have taken maths. Nope, not at all. Thanks a lot to answer my question. Video was very informative as usual. Thank you, Rajdeep. What's the likelihood for us Indians to get a CDI contract after graduating? The chances are quite high, I must say. It's not going to be easy. The internship hunt also is going to be a little difficult. But if you nail your internship year right and you brand yourself well, you know what you want to do. It's clear in your head what you bring to the table. If all of that stuff is done, then finding a job is just a matter of time and effort. So it's not impossible. I have friends, foreign friends like Indians who are competing in France, who didn't even speak French when they got their job, and they got fancy jobs in marketing, for example. So it's not impossible. What profile you're talking about? You're one of the sexiest men alive. Okay, what is this about? Oh yeah, that's from the okay. Thanks man, Anand. So whether you're planning to move to France for your studies or you're not sure if France or the MIM thing is the right thing for you, then definitely subscribe because I'll be making more videos in the series. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll address them in my next video. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you around.